What's going on, people? My name is Antoine, this is ATM Tech, and welcome to the channel. So I'm sure you all know by now, Samsung's Unpacked event is literally just around the corner, less than 1 week away. Now we are anticipating them releasing a brand new Z Flip 3. Now, as someone who spent a good amount of time with the original Z Flip, I thought it'd be appropriate if we did a bit of a look back before it's replaced with a new model. I even did a video on the original Flip way back when, which you guys seem to like. So the Z Flip was definitely a bit of a pioneer, creating a brand new category in today's smartphone market, which I thought would have expanded way more, but just didn't. With it basically being a regular smartphone that could flip in half, it was very reminiscent of the flip phones that were all the rage in the late 90s and the early 2000s. Motorola did join the flip party by reviving the Razr brand and trying to play on people's nostalgia, but that phone was lacking and just couldn't compete with the Z Flip. Now, internal spec wise, the Z Flip 2 was nothing special. It had a flagship processor, it had an okay camera, and it had a slightly below average battery size. But none of those things really mattered, because what made this phone special was all about the way you used it and the way it made you feel. So when opened up, it had a decent size 7.6-inch main display. That display did have a 25:9 aspect ratio, which meant the phone was quite tall but also quite narrow to hold. In most cases that made it quite easy to use, but there was the occasional times where it was difficult to reach from the bottom right up to the top of the screen. Watching videos and movies on the screen as well was a bit weird, because you had those massive black bars on the side. The thing is though, none of that really mattered, because once you were done, you just flipped the screen closed and in your hand you had something smaller than your wallet. Nice and easy to slip into your back pocket or into your handbag or similar. And that's where this phone really did shine. You had all the conveniences of a regular large size phone, but then you didn't have the inconvenience of having to lug it around. I've had a lot of conversations with people who refuse to buy larger screen phones simply because they're just too big to carry around. But the form factor of the Z Flip really solved that problem, which is why I'm really surprised there aren't more flip phones out there. As far as I know, to date there's only the Z Flip and the Motorola Razr, which both had small refreshes adding 5G, but for the most part they've been the same for nearly 2 years. But if the leaks around the Z Flip 3 are true, then we are in for a bit of a redesign, which I'm looking forward to. I think there were two things that really let the Z Flip down. There was that outer display, which was absolutely tiny and almost irrelevant. You could see your little notification symbol, and then it could also be used as a selfie viewfinder, but it was so tiny both those things weren't really worth using. And you did find that 90% of the time you did just need to open up the phone anyway. I am hoping they solve that problem by implementing a larger screen on the new Z Flip. Another thing that let the Z Flip down was reports of cracking along the crease. Now, to some degree this was understandable. For anyone who had a flip phone in the late 90s or the early 2000s, you know it was natural to just flip that thing open. And from what I've heard 90% of cracks in the Z Flip were because of that reason. So the phone definitely needed some reinforcement in that area, because anyone who was working on the research and development of that phone should have known that people were going to be doing that with this phone. Now, I personally use the Z Flip as my daily driver for about 6-7 months straight, and I had no issues with the screen. But at the same time, I was quite mindful of not damaging it, so I was quite gentle with it. One thing that was really raved about with the Z Flip was its flex mode. Flex mode basically gave you a slightly different interface when you had the phone half open, supposedly giving you extra functionality. But what in fact happened, I was trying to find reasons to use flex mode, but there wasn't any natural advantages to using it, so I kind of just forgot about it. So I imagine it will still be there with the new Z Flip, but there just probably won't be as much emphasis on it. Now, admittedly, having the hinge being able to stay in whatever position you put it in was good for little things like video calls, but for the most part, outside of the camera, if you weren't taking selfies or doing video calls or anything like that, it wasn't really that useful. But all in all, the Z Flip was a really good phone, which I'm a huge fan of. And as a category, I think we do need more folding smartphones. I think phones like the Z Fold and the Mate X, I think of them more as folding tablets, whereas the Z Flip to me is a folding smartphone, and I think we need more of them, and more manufacturers should jump on board. But that being said, I'm really looking forward to Unpacked coming up soon, and if you do want to see some Z Flip 3 and some Z Fold 3 content soon, well, I've got quite a bit coming up, so if you want to check that out, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. But if you did like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, it definitely helps me out a lot. But that's enough from me. My name is Antoine, this is ATM Tech, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.